She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast.
Damn good coffee. And hot. Would everyone please take a seat?
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Melanie.
I'm a screensaver.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today we have a special guest, what would you call yourself, a webmaster of welcome to twinpeaks.com?
Yeah, that's a way of putting it. I would say I'm kind of the creator of Welcome to Twin Peaks, or, the community manager of Welcome to Twin Peaks, something like that.
Right. From welcome to twinpeaks.com, Peter Dom.
Exactly.
Yay,
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be here.
Good, we're happy. Happy to have you.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're not a new fan, but we do need to know what you think of the season so far. Broad strokes.
Broad strokes, I've loved almost all of it so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know what to expect, although I knew it was going to be different, and boy, is it different. But I can't really say, because people sometimes ask me, what was the worst part of it so far for you, and it's hard to say. I would probably say Wally Brando, but even then, it's probably going to turn out to be a big, huge, clue or whatever. So I can't say at this point. I loved all of it so far.
Okay, well that's good. Well, this episode is very different. It's like tearing Twin Peaks fan communities apart. There's like the Civil War out there.
Although I gotta say, I'm pretty surprised with the positive reactions. I mean.
Yeah.
It's what you say. It's so different that it can easily, be divisive. But so far, I think most of the responses have been very positive. Actually.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Like when I say it's tearing people apart, I mean 95% of the people are like, "This is the best thing ever," and 5% are like, "I didn't like it."
Yeah.
And then those people are utterly destroyed.
I'll just say, the thing I keep seeing is, because I tend to watch it, I started 15 minutes later than it's airing, because I like to just give a little buffer time just in case. But then when it's over, I check Twitter, and all I'm seeing is everyone that says this is terrible is stupid and doesn't know what they're talking about and doesn't understand. And I'm like, I don't see anyone complaining. I'm looking for them, but I can't find them.
I think that's probably because they're terrified that they'll get, destroyed.
I feel like there's some people out there that are just way too defensive from Jump Street.
Well, we were kind of prepared that something big was going to happen, or at least something special, with some tweets by Sabrina Sutherland, who's the executive producer. I believe the DOP, Peter Deming, he also posted something to Instagram that this part would be like no other. So we kind of knew it was going to be a hell of a ride, but it certainly wasn't what I was expecting. I was thinking something more in like they're gonna change the whole story around, or something narrative.
They may have.
They may have. Yeah, you're right. But I thought it was gonna be mind blowing in a different way. I thought we were gonna be able to forget everything we knew about Twin Peaks, and it was gonna be a whole different thing. Twin Peaks never existed, for instance, something like that. But it was a different kind of ride.
Right. Okay, well, before we get into this episode, I got one piece of feedback that came in between. It's for episode 7-ish. It's from Anne. She says, "Hi all, I started listening to you when you started doing commentaries and was super glad when you started doing weekly podcasts for the new season. With that in mind, I definitely don't agree with all your opinions in the new series, but guess what? That's okay.
Hey.
I love the new season. I'm having a great time watching it, but I'm having fun listening to your opinions as well. I feel like you guys need to adopt a slogan that the We Hate Movies podcast adopted a long time ago when they talk about popular movies, which is, it's okay to like something."
Indeed.
Meaning a podcaster can make fun of something in a movie/TV show, and guess what? It's not the end of the world. It doesn't make it wrong to like a TV show/movie. There are a lot more important things to disagree about in the world, and I'm grateful to even have a new season of Twin Peaks that people can disagree on. I will happily keep listening. Go Little Stabby. Go Janie. And thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Anne.
So what she's saying is, do I get that right? That you guys don't like the series so far, or what's your general consensus on the
I can only
series?
speak for myself in that I'm pretty much mostly disappointed with some of it I like, and some of it I vehemently despise.
Until recently, I would say I liked the new series. Until recently.
Yeah, the previous episode was my favorite episode.
Yeah.
And this episode may be my least favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were
What were you gonna say, Caitlin?
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, like, I don't know. I don't think any of us feel like super strongly one way or the other. There's just a mix of opinions as we go throughout the episodes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say I've been having a fun time watching this series.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's nice that we can, like Anne was saying, it's nice that we have the new season of Twin Peaks. But I was telling Matt earlier, we were just talking about it, and I was saying, like, I didn't want a new season of Twin Peaks, though, because I just wanted it to stay the way it was. I just thought it was fine how it had been and how it had ended, and I liked that the mystery was kind of left there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's what made the show so appealing to me. And then now that they've made this, I feel like it feels to me like a little bit cheapened now. I don't know. Maybe that's just the feeling that I get.
I feel I was okay with him having another season of Twin Peaks. I'm just upset that we don't have another season of Twin Peaks. We have a season of David Lynch making a television show, sometimes tangentially connected to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a thing that I found on a forum that I really like. Like, I always struggle to explain my problems with this. I'm just not good with words. But this guy basically says exactly what I'm feeling about it. So I want to read Finale Fireworkers post from NeoGaf.com about the new season of Twin Peaks. And I think this perfectly encapsulates my feelings on the new series. And he says, something I think a lot of people aren't getting when they try to rationalize the disappointment of old fans is that Twin Peaks used to be a character-driven show. One of the things that made Twin Peaks so successful and influential was its extremely strong characterization. You were following the characters in Twin Peaks. The lore and the mystery were the backdrop that occasionally reached from the background and gave you a good shake. But first and foremost, Twin Peaks was about their dramatic lives and intersections of a whole town's worth of characters. The hugest most palpable difference is that old Twin Peaks focused on people and characters and relationships. It was about what made them hurt and what made them scared and what made them cry. We saw deep into their hearts and souls and cared for them. And when crazy interdimensional travel happened, it was still about them. It was still about them and what they wanted and how it was going to affect everyone around them. New Twin Peaks is not like that at all. We don't get to know any characters. Characters rarely make appearances in consecutive episodes. They don't have deep conversations. Dougie is literally a non-character. That's how polar opposite the show is. The show's protagonist is a vegetable who cannot think, barely feels, and cannot actualize any individual motivation. The old show had so many funny and charming character moments. It was so quotable. Season 3 has no fish in the percolators. The reason the new show is leaving me cold and disappointed constantly is because there's no heart to it anymore. It's completely devoid of emotion. There are rare scenes with Albert and Gordon, or Gordon and Denise, but everything else is pure surface-level fuckery based on the lore and no characters. When every single character you meet is presented as an enigmatic question mark, you can't feel compassion and interest in them. They become set pieces and props for a cosmic mystery. We are regularly meeting people we've never met before, and then saying goodbye, because they don't matter. Only the faceless space demon matters. I was on board for all manner of twisted ambiguity. I was not on board for an 18-hour movie with no protagonist. People laughed, but for me the best scene of the show is when Bobby sees Laura's picture and cries, because I know Bobby. I know what he's been through and how Laura affected him. I know why it hurts him and how it takes him back to a person he isn't anymore. We met Bobby grown up, but that scene makes him a teenager again, and it's really sad. Laura Palmer casts a long shadow. Bizarre trips through the atom bomb scenes totally detached from character and location do not make me happy the show came back. I'm trying not to jump the gun. There's still a lot of show left. We'll see how it comes together, but right now I'm perpetually disappointed. No more buddy drama, no more silly side antics, no more love stories, no more character study, just something else. So that post really resonated with me, and that's basically exactly how I feel. So there's the long answer to your question, Pete.
Oh, wow, yeah. Uh-huh.
What do you think about that?
I completely see his and your point. But I also think we're only 8 parts in, and there's still so much that's gonna happen.
Only
and there's gonna
8.
be
Only 8.
I mean, it's not even halfway, and they're setting us up for a completely different kind of story with mixed plot lines and all that stuff. So I would say just be patient, and you will have your love stories, and you will have your cop buddy stuff. It just takes a little longer. Lynch is definitely taking his time, and it'll happen. It'll happen. I feel especially last part 7. I really had the Twin Peaks goosebumps again.
Yeah, me too.
When we saw Andy in the woods and waiting for that man, and we heard Laura Palmer's theme. And, it's coming back. It's all coming back.
But what if it doesn't? Would that make you disappointed?
Well, we'll call again, and then I will apologize.
But I mean, personally, if it never comes back around to that, would you be disappointed?
I wouldn't be disappointed, not at all, because it has already given me so much new things to think about and debate, and it's already given us a lot. Last week we were debating or talking about airplane window codes. Come on, that's like. We didn't have that kind of stuff in the original series because the internet wasn't around, so we would just talk with friends who we watched with. But all those kind of really strange details and stuff people notice, and continuity errors even are being discussed now, and I think that's already super exciting. And I can be patient, and I'll wait for the character development to come. It's just that we have so many new characters now.
Yeah.
It'll take a while to feel compassionate about them.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope for you too.
All right, let's get into the recap unless anybody else has anything.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. So the opening scene is Mr. C and Ray in the car. We'll just talk about this whole thing.
What is his?
Sorry, am I still here? Sorry.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, I think
Caitlin's
dropped
not
though.
though.
Sorry. You dropped out.
Yeah, Caitlin just dropped
Okay.
out.
So, where does Evil Coop get his technology from? He has all the kookiest gadgets.
I don't know. He has his own James Bond Q type person, I guess.
You didn't understand, Matt, too. You were saying how the tracking device worked. You didn't quite understand.
Yeah, because he's like, there's 3 tracking devices on this car. Okay, let me write down this other car's license plate and then throw my phone out the window. Job done. What did that accomplish? Isn't there still 3 tracking devices on your car?
I would love it if it didn't accomplish anything. He just
has
wanted no idea.
It's all for show.
He just wanted to throw his phone at that truck.
I think he's just an old man that doesn't understand technology.
I think that takes care of it.
I think he was doing it for Ray's benefit. He was like, "See, Ray, I'm taking care of this now. Nobody's following us."
Yeah. It's not a big deal. Whatever. It just confused me.
Yeah, it was great. Also, his phone has a fire button, a docs button, a C. Cool. All right.
What operating system was he using?
Jitterbug 2.0.
Do you have any thoughts on this whole Ray and Cooper scene, Pete?
Me, I'm always amazed by how evil Kyle can look and be. I really didn't think he had it in him, and when he certainly looks at Ray and says, "You got something I want, Ray," his look, his face is phenomenal. I mean, I was even scared, and he pulls it off. That's what my takeaway from this scene. And then they mentioned the farm, which I'm not sure.
We don't know what that is, I don't think.
No.
Caitlin, what did you think about this scene?
I was kind of confused because I was like, oh, is he threatening to kill him? Because when he sends a dog or something to the farm, you're putting the dog down, and they're like, oh, does he see it as a threat, or is there actually, it's probably like a double meaning.
Yeah, but apparently this farm is a safe place, so who knows? Oh, she keeps disappearing. The Black Lodge keeps abducting Caitlin. Or the purple room, or the black and white room, or many of the other place, or the convenience store, or the inside of that nuke.
Or that screensaver.
Something's taken Caitlin away from us, and I wish it would stop. So I really like the music in this episode, though. From I assume it's from Angelo. It's very Mulholland Drive-esque music.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Angelo. Although this one is more atmospheric and very low key, but it's good for the mood in this scene. I wish they would put the Angelo tracks in the end credits. I don't know why they're not doing that yet.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't really find them anywhere on the internet. Like, people have resorted to making their own MIDI versions of these tunes.
Oh my goodness.
And putting them up on YouTube. I wasn't sure how Cooper's gun was filled with blanks, and then how Ray even got a gun in the first place. I was thinking maybe the warden provided it to him.
I would guess.
But what?
I think that they're all so scared of him that they just want him gone.
But if Cooper doesn't make it to wherever he's going, then the whole Mr. Strawberry thing will come out, won't it?
Not if he's dead.
No, he said that was his plan.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Maybe they're like, you know what? I'll take my chances. Odds are it's easier if this guy's dead.
Yeah.
But what surprised me most was that Mr. C would even shoot Ray before he got the info he needed.
Yeah.
Right? He just pulled trigger.
Maybe he was aiming for a maiming shot.
Okay.
Because we know how accurate Cooper is with his gun, so maybe he's just...
Anyway, he doesn't need any info. He wants info.
True.
Exactly.
Could he potentially have like Vulcan mind meld powers where he would just touch Ray and get the powers before he dies?
Maybe.
Or get the information before he dies?
We'll never know now.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I just want to know what this information is. It's a code or something that he has memorized.
I believe it's coordinates.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We didn't know that. Okay.
Maybe he's looking for the exact spot that nuke went off, and he wants to find more little bug eggs. Who knows?
What's the reason army? A bug army?
Yeah. So
I don't want to see any more bug eggs. Actually, one is enough.
Oh, the sound effects of this. So yeah, Coop gets shot, and then immediately the soot hobos like just swarm him. They're just like waiting for their chance to get their hands on him. And they do like a little dance around him, and they smear him with his own blood, and then they pull out a Bob blob from his stomach. It appears.
As you do.
As you do.
Pete, explain it.
Well, some people say that at that certain point that Bob leaves Scoop, or Mr. C, that these woodsmen exercise Bob, but I refuse to believe that. I just think they're putting him back in and make him even stronger and more evil, and it's just to show that Bob is part of Mr. C.
It certainly seems like these guys are these are not good guys seemingly.
No.
So I this whole episode really it brings up a lot of questions about the mythology that I don't know that I want to know or think about. But I don't see how this I don't see how this works yet. So who are they?
It looked like they were trying to fashion a golem when they were like putting their hands all over him and like putting dust and rubbing blood.
No, it's gonna get infected. Stop. And then Ray runs away as you would if you saw shit like that.
Sure.
And then he makes a phone call. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't try to kill Ray.
They didn't even notice Ray.
I know. I guess they were too busy, but it just.
Well, I got a lot of questions about Ray because Ray calls Philip, seemingly Jeffries, and he doesn't he doesn't seem as weirded out as he should be.
Yeah.
By what he just saw, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he kind of stutters, and he's definitely he's really
Well, he says something about like what he saw might be the key to something.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he
knows more about what's going on than I would have guessed.
Yeah, I think Philip prepared him. It could be Philip Jeffers. It could even be Philip Gerard, because why is Al Strobel's name in the end credits always Philip Gerard while we know he's actually Mike?
True.
So it could be that they're just messing with us and that he's actually calling to Philip Gerard, but I don't know. But he's definitely in the know. He knows that Mr. C is something inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed how everybody that sees these dust hobos, they always go in a trance. And maybe that's kind of what happened. He's kind of like a little bit in a trance. That's why he wasn't quite reacting normally.
People never react normally in this new series, actually.
No, that's true.
Even if there's a car accident or a glass box creature attacking you, people just look at it and do nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of useless.
A whole lot of deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Then we cut to a guy who looks like Jimmy Scott a little bit.
He does.
Right, yeah.
Introducing Nine Inch Nails at the Roadhouse.
Did you notice the... Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to mention the pine cone on his mic stand. I thought that was a really great touch.
It was a funny garnish.
Yeah. But yeah, this isn't the same Roadhouse. This isn't the same town. Like, there's too many young hip people here.
I just have a hard time believing that Twin Peaks could get Nine Inch Nails to perform at the Roadhouse. It just feels kind of not realistic, but I guess it's a TV show, so...
Maybe Trent Reznor owed Jean-Michel Renaud for two.
That's who he was talking to,
Yeah.
I think this is by far the worst musical act we've had on the show.
Just because you don't like Nine Inch Nails, or?
This is the first Nine Inch Nails I've ever heard.
Oh, really?
But it will also be the last.
Their new album. They have a new album out, and this is supposed to be promotion for it, I think.
Okay.
I think it's on their EP, their latest EP, which was released late last year, I think, if I recall correctly. It's 1 out of 5 tracks. But personally, I thought it was kind of like the Pink Room song meets Thought Gang because of the more narrative lyrics. But I don't know. I don't think Angelo or Lynch collaborated on that track at all. But it just had that vibe for me, and the Roadhouse is turning into the Pink Room. On Fridays, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I just I feel like this town is booming too much. It's just like when I envisioned the 3rd season, I envisioned it being like real life, and where all these small towns in America just are starting to decline. But Twin Peaks is like just soaring.
Yeah.
I'm just happy they put this scene at this point, because it would have totally sucked if it was at the end of this part, because nobody would have cared.
Yeah, it wouldn't have.
I wish. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I like the special effects that that were shown when they first appeared, with like the lights and the different colors. Because at first I had no idea what was going on, and it kind of looked like trans-dimensional.
My dream is I want to take this episode and I want to cut there at the 9 Inch Nails, and I'm just gonna put that on the last episode, and that's gonna be the end of that. So we'll have the whole Evil Cooper scene, and then the 9 Inch Nails, and then the rest of this episode will be its own episode, and then I can just skip that one.
All right, well, let's get into it then. Well, actually, after the 9 Inch Nails performance, Mr. C wakes up, and he's okay. But is he sans Bob? Is he sans Bob?
No, I don't think so. He still has the black in his eyes, and he looks more... like I said, I think he's more evil than ever before. He's furious.
They put an extra Bob in there.
That's what I think. That's how I read that scene.
But guys, what if this is now the real Coop, and then Dougie gets possessed by Bob?
Oh no.
New Bob eggs, now with extra evil.
Yeah. Gross.
Do you think that Janie could take on Evil Coop?
I think so.
Yeah, sure.
Stomp him into the dirt.
I think Janie and Lil Stabby should join forces. I think they should, like, obliterate Mr. C.
Yeah, get rid of Sunny Jim. Just,
Alright, so now we're July 16th, 1945, White Sands, New Mexico. And a nuke goes off. Does anybody know any historical context? Was this like the first nuclear test ever?
I wish I could tell you, but I have to dig into this.
Yeah, it sounds around right. I will say that this is my problem with this. Like, I understand we're going to have a crazy David Lynch thing happen, but my problem with this is we come up with a title card, and then we go into this backstory. Previously, we have weird stuff when we're, like, in the Red Room. We have weird stuff when there's things bleeding over into Twin Peaks. But, like, we're going on a flashback of wackiness. And fuck that. No, that's not how this show has ever worked. I don't like it. I don't, as soon as that card comes up, I'm like, fuck this. No.
I don't understand why you have a problem with the going back. I'm not sure I understand.
Well, if I'm fine with weirdness happening when we're in the Black Lodge, when we're in the Red Room, when we're in a place where weird things should be happening.
Okay.
But it's just the fact that we're doing a flashback. We're like, for what reason?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just saying it has no place within the storyline.
Yeah, it has no place in the storyline.
Well, it might.
It doesn't.
But we don't. It's hard to figure it out.
The thing is, so many people were complaining. So many people were complaining early on, like, oh, I just don't want this series to come back and it to be a rehashing of everything that's happened before, and all the tropes that happen when you bring a show back. But I think the worst of all is having like a weird origin story that like we don't need. And that's what most of this episode is.
So you mean like adding extra lore to the backstory that wasn't there originally, and it like
all of that.
This new thing that's added is suddenly like the most important piece, and it was never there before, seemingly, or
that too. It bothers me that we're having weird things out. I just don't see. I don't see the purpose for this scene. I don't think it fits.
It felt very much like it should be like a David Lynch short film. Like all of these scenes, like each in their separate kind of
films.
Yeah, it should have been like a little series of short films or something.
Well, it felt like that.
Yeah, I was thinking that it should be like a web series or side thing or something.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
It feels like Eraserhead.
Yeah, well, Eraserhead and like all of his other short films that he's done, like they're all in that style, you know.
Which, if you begin and end in that style, I am fine with it. Like, I very much enjoy Eraserhead, but that's not what this series has ever been.
The visual of the atomic bomb and all the colors, like, splashing, whatever, that was kind of neat. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I liked... I did like the visuals, but it did go on for too long, in my opinion. I don't know if
I felt like I was watching the visuals I felt like I was watching like a really old like Star Trek movie or something, and
yeah. Peter, do you have an opinion on it?
Oh, I do. I loved it.
Why? What did you love about it?
You know, it starts with the scene of the explosion. The mushroom cloud looks amazing to me. I thought that was just beautiful to watch in super slow motion. And then going into that cloud and seeing, I don't know what I saw, but I saw, black and white fire, all that kind of stuff. To me, it was poetry.
Did it have to go on for so long, though?
Well, yeah, that's a matter of opinion. I watched all of David Lynch's short films or anything he does. Really, his art. I've seen most of it, and so I kind of know where this is coming from. But then seeing this with really great visual effects as well, for me it was very trippy, but a very enjoyable and visceral trip. And yeah, I like you say, I love the visuals. And then suddenly we see the convenience store appear, which that to me was a great payoff, because the convenience store has been legendary so far, and we've only seen it in Fire Walk with Me. At least we assume.
But
so seeing the outside, I'm
going to challenge you on that. Is that the convenience store? Because there's no room above it. It's a one-store building. This
is the convenience store in 1945. So maybe it moved, or maybe they added an extra level. I don't know. But it's the early version of it. So
I know it's because the eggs were not even there yet. So they need a hatchery later on. So they're gonna put an addition to it, and it's gonna be a little Bob hatchery.
That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, that's the convenience store that we hear so much about. But then I'm like, wait, it's only one story. There's no room above that convenience store.
Well, there's a ladder. There's a ladder going up. So maybe it's just open.
They're still building it. Yeah.
There's just a table and chairs up on the roof.
Shortly before we started recording, I found on the internet the greatest thing ever using this scene. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
King of the Hill parody opening using
it fits so well.
It does.
So yeah, my question is, where is this convenience store? Is it in New Mexico, or because we see trees in the background, so it looks more like a woody area, not exactly the desert. So we're not sure where this is.
Yeah, I think it's like what we kind of talked about, in discussing the Black Lodge before, and how it was kind of almost timeless, outside of time, and perhaps I don't know. I feel like the cause and effect of whatever happened, from the nuclear explosion, perhaps occurred at a point in time, but it had kind of the lore is pushing it both ways, because we have Mark Frost's book, which there's a lot of stuff I think that happens related to the Black Lodge and the mythology that happens before 1945, and then we have stuff happening after, so it's kind of outside of time.
Yeah.
So early atomic weapons were they hydrogen based, or is that the later ones? Is a hydrogen bomb different and better than an atomic bomb? Because I'm just trying to make sense of the line from The Missing Pieces where they're like, from pure air we are descended, or whatever, like the Lodge people. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with hydrogen, or I don't know.
You're overthinking it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Just wondering what made these creatures. Is it the bomb?
I see. I don't feel like they necessarily were made. I feel like maybe that's opened up a portal from wherever they're from, space aliens or whatever we're gonna say. Because also we got a Bob floating around in the in the gold ball. And he's already wearing denim, so like.
Yeah.
He's already a very stylish man.
And the giant and the old woman, I think, they were already existing at wherever they were, White Lodge or whatever, and they were almost like guardians waiting for something to happen, so I don't know.
I also like, and I love Frank Silva, and I do love that we're, still using images of Frank Silva, but I don't know, I at the same time, I always imagined that whatever Bob was just a form of Bob, like, and I think it's limiting that we're just using Frank Silva.
Well, do we think that little bug thing is supposed to be Bob? Because that'd be another form of Bob.
I was thinking that was more along the Laura Palmer ball that the giant and the woman sent.
Oh no, Laura Palmer's a frog bug? Frog roach?
Yep. Maybe. I don't know.
I've seen some people like talking about this.
Wait.
What?
You think she like inhabited this girl, and then this girl's gonna become like her grandmother or something?
Well,
she's gonna,
well, what I was thinking at first was that like whatever this thing was, this gross ass frog bug, like goes inside of her, and then whatever it does, so that eventually, and I thought it was gonna be Sarah Palmer, so eventually she can have her daughter. But then I was looking at like how old Sarah Palmer's supposed to be, and she was supposed to be like 10, I think, when that happened. Whenever the frog thing is happening, so I'm like, well, I don't think that girl. I think she was older than that, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and the crazy woodsman, it was like he seemed pretty evil to me, and it looked like he was preparing people for the bug to come and inhabit something. Oh. That's what I got from that, like when he was putting everyone to sleep with his chanting, and
Yeah, I've seen some people speculating that, like Laura Palmer's gone from being just, like the all-American teenage girl with troubles to being some sort of like midichlorian Jesus type figure. Yeah. I really hope it's not that.
Well, I don't like the
universal battle.
Yeah.
Well, I think it takes away from Laura Palmer. I think the fact that we're just setting up all this stuff, like. Because I think, like, what was great about Firewalk with Me is that, like, and the book was the fact that she was in this horrific situation, and she escaped it, like, in a horrific way, but she escaped it and was at peace at the end. And I feel like, I don't know what we're leading to now, but I just, the grandiose scale of it now is just takes away.
It feels like it's coming to some, like, mystical, epic final.
Midichlorians is the perfect. Yes, that's how I feel about this episode. As soon as that fucking title screen comes up.
I kind of want like an epic battle though now, like Laura Palmer with like, some crazy like orb magic, like just destroying like Mr. C.
They're gonna fly around like Matrix.
Oh my god!
Reloaded style.
She's gonna come in like full Valkyrie armor.
Okay, Pete, let's have your opposite take of our take.
Wow, yeah, you just recapped the last 30 minutes of the entire thing. Let's see. Yeah, we were at the convenience store scene.
Right after that, I guess, is the quote unquote mother like throwing up.
The mother puke. Yeah, you can see some eggs in that puke, and then you see Bob So this is the origin of Bob and maybe the other frog bug thing. But I can't say. Is this the mother that we saw in the Purple World room, or is this the creature in the glass box? Is it the same thing that's on Mr. C's playing card? There are so many possibilities here.
The playing card shape, I don't think that's come up again, because this doesn't look like the playing card thing.
No, I mean the head. She has
bunny ears.
Yeah, she kind of has floppy bunny ears, or more like devilish horns. That's what I saw when I zoomed in.
Oh.
But I don't think that's the least. That's one of my least favorite options. I think she's the mother of all abomination, which is mentioned in The Secret History of Twin Peaks in relation to Jack Parsons, who's trying to create her or awaken her. I should refresh that book, because I think a lot of this is actually tied back to that book.
Feels like it's going that way.
Yeah. So it's time to read that one again. But Mother's Puke. That was interesting. I love that visually as well.
So do we think these floating gold screensaver balls are related to the Dougie gold screensaver ball?
I don't know, because that was like a hard piece of metal, and these are like, I don't know, they kind of, they're not perfect circles, some of them are perfect circles, like Laura Palmer came out of the giant there, and like she looked like just a big Dragon Ball.
Also interesting is that it's her homecoming queen photo again, which we see everywhere, and which is now on a golden orb. That's so strange.
It is.
They really couldn't find any other picture of her.
They're gonna summon the Laura Palmer from inside that ball, and she's gonna grant some people wishes.
Just rub it a few times. Yeah. So yeah, we go to that purple ocean again, and there's a long zoom into like a black and white room with a lady and a gramophone, and the giant comes out and he stares at nothing, and then he walks away, and like that seems to be the place that Cooper was in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just so you know, that was exactly the opening minutes. Yeah.
Just so you know, if you watch this at 4 times speed, everyone seems to be moving at a normal pace.
But I was kind of right when I was like, I think the giant is just letting Coop hang out in his apartment.
That is his apartment.
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure that's his wife.
Yeah. It's big. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. He's got that weird same transistor bell thing, or whatever that is.
It's got to be a communication device of some sort.
Yeah, there are a couple of those in the whole building where he is. But I couldn't see if it mentioned DC, like the one on the satellite thing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
So he gets to view everything that we just saw on a big screen.
I was terrified they were going to play the whole thing again.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
And then he decides to I don't know if he decides to, maybe it just happens. He like rises up and like starts spewing out that gold dust, and it turns into a Dragon Ball with Laura Palmer's face in it, and they send it off to Earth.
It almost looked like he died to do that.
Did he die?
I don't
Do we
know.
think he died?
I don't know.
I don't think. No.
He just freeze framed on Bob. He's like, "Oh, look at that creepy motherfucker," and then he flies into the sky and vomits a Laura Palmer ball.
Yeah. We need a fated warrior to battle this denim creature.
So here's something interesting. When I was at David Lynch's Festival of Disruption in October, they had these giant posters up in the building, and one of them said, "Infuse the machine with gold." And that was all that was on it. And, this scene we saw yesterday, they used the gold orb, and they put it into the machine on the ceiling. So I don't know if he was giving away clues at the festival already.
Maybe.
Or if that's just something that's on his mind all the time. Gold.
He just likes gold.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't much reference to gold from the original series besides like the golden circle of Cooper's ring. and the gold box DVDs. That's about it.
But he always latches on to random stuff anyways. He's like, I like that, let's run with it.
Yeah.
I thought that I thought that when the gold filaments were coming out of the giant's head or whatever, I thought that they looked kind of like the arm
for a moment,
and then they kind of
so did the mushroom cloud for a moment. It looked like a brain tree.
Yeah.
But that's just the shape of a mushroom cloud, so it's probably just coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was just something I noticed. I was like, oh, it just looked exactly like the way it branched off, but it disappeared pretty quick. So,
what's there must be a scientific term for that, because there's the term for seeing faces everywhere. What's the term for seeing brain trees everywhere?
I don't remember.
I think it's still pareidolia. I think it's just it's not facial pareidolia. It's brain tree pareidolia.
I'm gonna make toast tomorrow morning. I'll see a brain tree in it.
Everywhere I look, I just see brain trees.
So then we fast forward to 1956, August 5th, New Mexico desert, and there's a little egg that appears to be something that Mother had puked up, and then a roach frog comes out.
Gross.
It was kind of the little helpless legs were kind of cute though.
I had to watch it struggle the whole way across the screen, and the sound effects, the Foley was
sound effects were gross.
I mean, they're effective. They're gross, but yeah,
frogs gross me out so much. I can't deal with it.
And so do bugs. This is the worst of both things for you.
It really is. Guys, when I moved into the place I'm living currently, the first night here, somehow a frog was in my bedroom.
What? Always in the bedroom.
It took me 2 hours. 2 hours to get rid of it.
Did it crawl in your mouth at any point?
Oh, no. But it almost got on my bed, and I would have to burn the bed.
So there's also two teenagers walking together, having small talk. The girl finds a good luck penny because it's face down. Or no, heads up. Heads up.
It's heads up, yeah.
I didn't know that was the
People
rule.
keep picking up money in this show.
Yeah.
And that's the first time in 27 minutes that we hear dialogue again, actually.
That's true.
Slow dialogue.
So the funny thing about the penny is that it obviously has Lincoln's head on it, and the actor who appears later and plays the God of Light woodsman, he is actually an Abe Lincoln lookalike, an impersonator.
That's hilarious.
It definitely looks like him, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Man,
but is it luck? Does it mean luck? Actually, that's we don't know.
Would you how much money would you make as an Abe Lincoln impersonator? I want to know now.
I don't know.
He's in tons of movies though.
That's funny.
And commercials, so yeah, I mean, it must be a good living.
All right, I'm having a birthday. I guess I'll get a Lincoln impersonator to come and.
Instead of a clown, you get a Lincoln impersonator.
Absolutely.
I think it's a better option.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, then some more soot hobos descend from pure air. They just drop out of the sky and they start walking through the desert. I guess I should stop calling them soot hobos. They're credited as for woodsman, which the woodsman is a character from Fire Walk with Me, except he wasn't all covered in soot back then. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
There's a shower at the convenience store.
Yeah. And this part was probably my favorite part of the episode, from the point where they came down and started walking across the desert and terrorized that couple in the car, and then went into the radio station. That whole thing was great, I thought.
It was really creepy.
It was terrifying.
Awesome horror. Great. Another great...
film noir horror. Awesome.
Yeah. Just another terrifying, out of this world Lynch. Creepy character.
I always notice the things he does with voices is so incredible. Mm-hmm. It's like he invents new sorts of voices. Like this one was more robotic.
Yeah.
Got a light thing. But then the lady Naido with the without eyes in the Purple Room, she has this weird voice that sounds like Brett's, just like that. But and of course, in the legendary Red Room scenes, and he has this thing for special voices, and I love this one because it is really creepy.
Yeah, he's very big on sound design as part of the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, in a whole, yeah.
So yeah, what do you think of these guys?
I think as much as Brad was freaked out by the bug, I was freaked out by these woodsman guys.
Yeah, just crushing heads.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad.
Just terrifying to me. Like, just, ugh.
Harassing couples on the road.
Yeah. Just, like, not letting them through.
I like when they drive away and that one woodsman kind of darts in front of the car for a second. He's like,
I'm surprised that Lynch let them get away without being killed.
Yeah, I know.
Those two, yeah.
Yeah, and what's the obsession with the cigarette and trying to get a light? I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just this just reminds me of every single time I've been accosted by like a drunk, destitute looking man. Just
I'm sorry, alright? It was one time.
I just came out of a chimney.
I just needed a light, okay?
Oh man.
There's so many of those types of people around here.
I'm just picturing Brad just came out of a chimney. He's covered in creosote, and he got a light, and then you just flick the lighter, and he goes up in flames.
Exactly. That's really how you kill them. I mean, they're ready to go up in flames in a second. These are easy villains to defeat.
He was feeling suicidal.
Got a light, I gotta take myself out.
Yeah, we see the three locations: the radio station, the Pop's Diner, and the mechanical shop, the car mechanic. So is this just typical Americana that they're showing us, or is there a relation to the girl at home?
Well, listen, we see Pop's Diner, and there's only one Pop's Diner I'm aware of, and Jughead Jones should be sitting there eating a hamburger wearing a crown.
Yeah, where the heck is Jughead anyways?
I would love if this is secretly, it turns out Riverdale and Twin Peaks are just shared universe.
That, yes.
I think all these people were just collateral damage. I think the plan was to make that girl fall asleep.
So it was just happened that this was the town that they landed on, and these people were just kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. They'll just wake up later, I bet.
Yeah, you think that bug girl is gonna be fine?
No, not her.
No, she's done for.
She's fucked. Yeah, but everyone else.
See, I thought it was the other way around. I thought everybody else was fucked, and she was okay because she got a bug in her.
Why would she be okay because she got a bug in her? That's never okay.
I mean, I agree that's never okay, but this is David Lynch world. It just seemed like everybody else was knocked out and dying, and she was I don't know, she still seemed to be alive. And I don't know.
Everybody else is not okay either. We got two people with crushed skulls.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously they're not okay either. I just meant the people who fell asleep listening to the radio.
All right.
See, yeah. I thought they died. I didn't even think they were asleep.
Maybe. I doubt we'll ever find out. So, is there anything we missed?
I do like the song that they play coming from
the Platter song.
Yeah, I like that. I think he always does pick pretty good songs to accompany his scenes. David Lynch, he's got usually good choices.
Mm-hmm. Did you make anything of the poem that the woodsman was repeating?
This is the water, and this is the well. Drink full and descend. The horse is the white of the eyes, and dark within. It's like the new Fire Walk With Me poem. Yeah. It's I think it has the same kind of catchiness, and it's super scary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I haven't heard it before. It's the white horse, or the horse is the white of the eyes. Obviously refers to the white horse, I think. But apart from that, I really have no clue.
Yeah, and we hear some horses when he goes off into the night. Yeah. Hmm. But yeah, I don't think we ever found out what the original poem even meant, did we?
What if it's the second part of that poem? It's just it's just the second part. Nobody ever heard it, but there it is.
Very well could be. Doesn't get me any closer to understanding it.
No, I want to know what he did to that guy's brain. By the way, like, did he liquefy it? Like he turned it to soup. It was a brain soup on the floor.
Guess, yeah.
Well, he had to suck up his brain juice so he would know how to operate the radio station. Obviously.
Oh, he needed his knowledge. Yeah. Okay. I also don't think you could. That girl, like, I don't think that bug should have actually went. Like, you could hear her swallowing, and that
Yeah,
bug
she
was
swallowed
too
it.
big.
It's
So
very
bad.
possible. It's a baby, you know. Just soft.
Yeah, I was at first I
soft.
was thinking it was gonna go up her nose, but then I realized how big it was, and oh no. But who do you think the girl is? I heard you thought she was Sarah or Laura's grandma, maybe, or
I think it's the wrong time period to be either one.
exactly, yeah.
So-
Could just be an incubator.
What about it's Linda? Because for some reason I noticed that she had weird marks on her knees. I don't know what that was about. Maybe the actress has them. I don't know. But and then I remembered the line. Mickey said that Linda had a wheelchair. She finally had a wheelchair, so maybe she has a condition with her legs, and so I kind of linked back to that. I thought maybe this was the Linda we're talking about, and if she's possessed by something evil, then Cooper has to take her out together with Richard, the other crazy fucker.
We still don't even technically know his name besides the credit.
Wasn't there a thing?
Right.
Wasn't there a thing in the Twin Peaks book by Mark Frost where there was a bunch of kids that encountered aliens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wasn't the log lady a part of that? Like,
Yes.
I can't remember the circumstances. I don't know if this
there's
really.
They were in
that.
they were wandering in the forest, I believe, or they were on a field trip or something, and then Carl Rod was one of them as well, and then another unknown character. He was named, but he was never in the original series. And they got abducted, or I don't know what happened, kidnapped for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So you think it's related to that?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Oh, yeah.
I say I don't like tying this. I really hate tying this stuff to this specific time, especially when we're seeing like the nuclear explosion and seeing Bob come from that, because it seems like we're saying that okay, this is the origin of how Bob came into our world. But I just like the idea that he's a more ancient evil that's always been around. I feel like we're taking so much away with this, and I feel like if this wasn't in a David Lynch style, this would be the exact thing that everybody would be complaining about. It's too much origin story. It's too much. It's showing way too much. I really hate this.
Yeah, maybe it's Bob's rebirth. You know, that's also a possibility that he's back, and that's what
Bob too.
Carl Strachan, Bob or Bob the Third, or who knows. But that may be what Carl Strachan was trying to discover, and that's why the alarm went off. And he's in the
This can't be the origin of Bob or these kind of spirits, because the Native American people of Twin Peaks have had stories for hundreds of years, haven't they? So
yeah, and the Duckbus have been around for centuries, right? Didn't they?
I feel like maybe we're separating Bob from other evil spirits, and because I don't know, I always like the fact that he was just one of some evil spirits, and he's just really fucking evil because he's the one we're encountering. But this seems like he's like super evil spirit, and there's just a lot of regular evil spirits that have already been around doing stuff, but he's super evil because he's the villain of our show.
Yep. It is a little bit Star Wars prequel-y when you think about it, but just explaining away the magic. Even though this is super weird, it still feels like it's explaining away part of the magic. I think that's everything, unless somebody else has any more notes.
It just sounds like he's killing horses in the distance. When
he's
just murdering horses.
He's going to kick horses in the dark.
Yeah. Well, they're all freaking out back there. I don't know.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this woodsman's kicking me.
Not a light.
So does anybody want to rate this? Pete, how about you go first? If you're ready. Do you have a rating?
Sure. I mean, I loved every bit, so I will give this 10 out of 10 golden Laura Palmer's Homecoming Queen portrait orbs.
Whoa.
Mouthful. Okay. Brad, you can abstain from the rating if you want. I know you don't like a number rating.
I will. I mean, we're too deep in at this point. I do hate number ratings, but because I do take it way too seriously and have to think about it very seriously as though it actually matters. I mean, I like the beginning stuff with Evil Coop. I like his stupid phone. I like his nonsense technology that gets rid of tracking devices because it makes no sense. The creepy woodsmen at the end were great. I always like seeing a giant for a second at least. But I hate the screensaver that goes on for like 8 minutes of this episode. And I hate all of the possible origin story, though it's David Lynch, and really we're assuming a hell of a lot by even saying that this is origin story, but if it's not, then I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't like it. I hate that. I hate the title card, because no, keep weird things in weird places, not in a time period. Fuck that. I'll say 4 out of 10 9-inch nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. It's just, it hurts all the more for me because last episode was so good, and it felt like it was going to become the Twin Peaks I know and love again.
It will.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
We are almost halfway through.
I really want to believe you, Pete. But for now, this episode, I'm just going to give it, also 4 out of 10 Bob Blobs.
Oh, can I say one more thing real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just say this. If the whole kooky nuclear explosion scene through the end of the episode was separate and something else that was not called Twin Peaks, I would rate it much higher. But it's not Twin Peaks. No. Mm-hmm. All right, that's all.
Okay.
I feel like that I appreciate the attempt at this point to kind of bring some of the story together, the whole universe with, the origin of the Black Lodge and the lore, but it just didn't tie well enough into what we've seen so far, and it was artistically appreciable, but just I couldn't tie it all together. But it kind of just brings up some more mystery, which is expected, and I honestly, as I was watching the nuclear explosion scene and stuff, I was like, okay, they're gonna give David Lynch every few episodes just to do whatever he wants, and maybe they'll just get to the story in between, and then he'll have his episode. I thought that at the beginning, I think that this episode is kind of a mark of a new balance we're gonna see. I don't think that Bob is still in Cooper, and I think that he's gonna be a bit more even-footed with real Coop, and so.
But still evil?
Yeah, still evil, but just not enhanced. I don't know who has the secret hacking powers, Evil Coop or Bob, but we'll see.
Did you give it a number?
Sorry, I was just trying to pull it up. Okay, so it was interesting enough that I don't think I'm gonna give it too low of a rating, but it just was a bit baffling. So I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10 flying frogs.
Okay, Mel, are you ready?
I think I agree with Brad about the giving a higher rating if the whole atomic bomb thing was a separate thing. Mm-hmm. I really do feel that it should have been something else entirely. I I did I did appreciate the visuals for what they were, but yeah, it was just such a slog to get through. Like, it was just so. I'm not a fan of the forward, backward, like fast forward, rewind thing that David Lynch keeps doing.
In the editing?
Yeah, in editing, like I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me, I guess, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did like the shadows that he had, like in the atomic bomb scene. Like, I thought that was cool. Like, a lot of the visuals were really cool, the colors and everything. And yeah, the hobos are just terrifying. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with a 4 out of 10 too. 4 out of 10 poems to fall asleep to.
Okay. Well, hopefully next one is better for us, but it was still an experience.
Well, yeah,
I
for
hope
sure.
so too.
And I might see this differently once I've seen the whole series too.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true. It'll be nice to go back and like watch it in retrospect, just like all together instead of having it chopped up. I'm having a hard time remembering sometimes from week to week.
yeah, exactly.
I want to go on record now. I refuse to ever watch this episode in total again unless I'm watching it on a phone.
Okay.
Unless you're watching it on a phone.
You're just like rubbing it in David Lynch's face.
That's right. If I'm ever watch this again, it's gonna be on a phone, motherfucker.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I actually watched this episode on like a large TV, and it was like, oh man, what?
I really want to watch this on the big screen. I think this is going to be phenomenal on a giant theater screen.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be even probably more intense if you watched it.
Yeah, somebody do that and cut it into several short films and then put it on the big screen.
Well, actually, from this episode we get 3 music videos. We can cut 3 music videos out of the episode.
Yeah. All right, so we got a lot of feedback. Let's get right to it. Does anybody want to read this?
I want to read that. Do we have any hate mail that I can read?
I never pre-screen our mail.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
That was just a happy accident that you got that last one.
It was so fun.
I can read it.
Okay.
Salutations. I admit, while a lot of this week's episode was visually stunning, I was pretty annoyed by the whole thing. Never thought I would long for the days of Ben Horn reenacting the Civil War, but this was tedious. Just when we were beginning to make some progress with the plot, we get subjected to what felt like deleted scenes from Eraserhead. Speaking of Eraserhead, did anyone else get a real Man in the Planet vibe from the sequence with the giant?
Mm.
So does this mean Laura was some kind of messianic figure created by the White Lodge? As someone who worships Cheryl Lee, I can get behind that. Do you reckon that convenience store was the same one Mike talked about and that we saw in Fire Walk With Me?
Maybe before renovations.
Overall, I give it 3 out of 10 CGI bugs in the mouths. In mouths. Best wishes. Who's this from?
This is from Luke.
Luke Bannon. Okay.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Alright, here's one from Ryan. Any volunteers?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay.
Is anyone like me and start rolling their eyes and shaking their head when this kind of stuff shows up on the screen? I was doing quite a bit of that this episode. Lynch is a sadist genius. He knew we would grow tired of Dougie, so what does he do? Gives us an episode where we beg for Dougie.
Never.
Episode 7 was too much of a good thing, so we had to be fed this. The main 30 minutes of explosion imagery is what I imagine is going on inside of my brain during a migraine headache.
Yeah.
In fact, it gave me a migraine headache. I was well prepared to go on the internet following this episode and hear many of the Lynch apologists finally get to the point where many of us Twin Peaks fans have been since the first episode. Boy, was I an idiot for thinking that they would come around to sanity. Lynch is still a genius in their eyes, and Showtime is their hero for putting that on the air, except the 9 Inch Nails part. Somehow, they draw the line at that. Apparently all of this was some kind of symbolism for how the Lodge spirits came to be, the nuclear bomb being the ultimate creator of pain and sorrow. Garmamboja. Okay, whatever.
Oh, is that what he thinks that could be?
What?
The atomic bomb is like ultimate Garmambosia?
I guess it would be, yeah.
They just put a bunch of creamed corn inside the bomb and just let her rip.
Yeah.
Well, soon after that scene, we see the convenience store, and if you go by that scene frame by frame, you will notice there are stacked cans inside the convenience store. So, maybe they're collecting all their garum boja.
Yeah, I couldn't really make out anything. I thought the windows were like frosted or something.
They're frosted, but in certain frames you can see them stacked up like 3, 2, 1, like a pyramid. So it's interesting, and it does look like canned corn.
Yeah, it probably is. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, it is weird how like everything's cool except Nine Inch Nails. Too far, Lynch. Too far. All right. Here's one from Evan. He says, "Hey everyone, I was going to send in another voicemail, but it would have just been me going, 'What?' for several minutes, and that just does not make good audio. I think episode 7's relative straightforwardness and linearity was a preemptive consolation prize for the gauntlet of evocative, beautiful, but nonetheless nonsense we saw here. The Showtime app calls this episode Got a Light, but I would suggest the more accurate title of Things Come Out of Heads, and I'm confused, and that's probably okay. Points to Ray for doing the sensible thing and shooting evil Cooper at the first opportunity. But of course he couldn't have expected the legion of dirty hobos to show up because none of us did. I appreciated that they used MWT during the nuclear testing scene in reference to Mountain Wartime. That was the result of the Wartime Act of 1942, which established National Daylight Savings Time to save energy during World War II. I appreciated this because it was the only part of this episode that I 100% understood. Nuclear bomb busts open a rift and let the thing from the box puke a bob egg into the desert, so the giant produces Laura as a Dragon Ball and sends her to Earth via a huge saxophone, apparently because newly formed Bob was definitely going to need a victim in about 30 years.
Aw, that is horrible when you think about it that way.
Yeah, it was like saying, I've just imagined the worst childhood ever, and it was so. Bob emerges as a cicada frog on the day that Carmen Miranda died, and Cigarette Zombie invents talk radio and puts everyone to sleep because that's all it's good for. Lucky pennies are not a thing, says David Lynch. I would love to comment on the rest of the episode, but most of it was so dark that I literally couldn't see what was happening most of the time. Good luck with this one.
Thanks.
Thanks, Evan. Brad, do you mind reading this one from Sam Barber?
Sure. Dear Twin Peaks podcast, after its surprise airing on Sunday night, here's my brief review of Eraserhead 2, Attack of Killer Bugs from Outer Space. Firstly, I was surprised at how little the film resembled the original, considering it was a direct sequel. Although there was still enough body horror to rival the first film. Weird shit going in and out of people's mouths, blood spraying in several directions, and a homeless man who appeared to be in blackface were some of the outstanding delights of the new movie. What if it is supposed to just be blackface? Oh no. I also think David Lynch was smart to air the film during a random time slot on Showtime. It was completely unannounced and will have shocked a fair amount of viewers who were expecting the Dougie Show with guests. As to the plot of the film, I have literally no idea. I've read things online that suggest the atomic bomb was the source of all evil, although I'm beginning to think that the true source may actually have been Nine Inch Nails. Who knew that Eraserhead 2 Revenge of Trent Reznor was going to be a music video? 2 questions. To be fair, after David Lynch's other music videos, which seem to include a shit ton of nudity and Lynch screaming about clowns, this is definitely a step up. Sorry, I missed out on those. Overall, Eraserhead 2, floating man with yellow stuff coming out of him, gets a 9 out of 10. Although the 9 Inch Nails section goes on a bit too long, the film shows that David Lynch is still completely insane. My favorite part has to be the death of Cooper, a character who wasn't in the first film. As it was a very dark sequence, both totally and visually, which created one of the strangest atmospheres within the new film. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this long-awaited sequel, Sam. P.S. I legitimately loved this episode, but if you guys have had enough of Lynch's nonsense, feel free to express your anger and despair. Showtime will definitely be getting a lot of complaints this week.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That was great, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Pete, do you mind reading one, or are you able to read one?
I can't read one because I'm on my phone.
That's what
yeah, unless there's a way for you to show me something.
I could paste it to you on Facebook. Can you look at it?
Right, sure.
Okay, yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hey gang, I really dislike part 8. It is unfortunate that I need to preface my comments with the following disclaimer, but there are so many ardent Lynch defenders out there that it seems necessary. I'm a huge fan of the original Peak series and film, even latter season 2. I also love the books, even The Secret History of Twin Peaks. I have mostly enjoyed the new series up until part 8. I also have enjoyed other Lynch films such as Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, and Lost Highway. With all that being said, I hated what Lynch did in this latest Peaks installment. After the intro sequence with Mr. C and Ray, the show tanked hard. I would say it went downhill, but I think it avoided the hill entirely and teleported itself straight to the bottom. It's the worst episode of Peaks I've ever seen. Not to mention the only time the actual town appeared was to provide a setting for a Nine Inch Nails music video. Ugh. I feel like I do generally understand what was being conveyed. It seems that the bomb is the genesis of Bob and perhaps other lodge spirits. However, this was probably the worst way to get this information across. Like some other scenes so far, for instance the sweeping scene, this was filler, plain and simple. This wasn't even Twin Peaks. I mean, sure, the events are related to things in the town of Twin Peaks and the lodge mythology, but this was not even close to the same show. This was a David Lynch circle jerk that Showtime somehow allowed. Where was Mark Frost? Why the hell wasn't he reining David in? This is garbage, and I will not give Lynch a pass just because he is Lynch. I hope the rest of the series isn't like this, because I'm not looking forward to another 10-minute color and sound fest like what happened after we got sucked into the mushroom cloud. I just want Peaks to go back to being Peaks. I want Coop to wake the fuck up, and I want the story threads to start weaving together, and I want David Lynch to refrain from wasting time with this stripe. I'm glad Showtime is giving full artistic freedom, but that doesn't mean the freedom they give will result in good art. Nevins should be embarrassed that this was on his platform.
Oh.
Thanks, Sam Witt. P.S. I'm still going to watch the rest just to see it through, and I look forward to guesting on your Part 14 podcast.
Ooh, that's a ways away.
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry I made you read that, Pete. I
It hurt. It really hurt.
You're like, oh, I have to say these words.
Like I said, I don't pre-screen these. But yeah, a lot of what he said I agree with. But I mean,
you know, this reminds me, like, a lot of this, like, this isn't what I want, this isn't what I want, like, a lot of it kind of reminds me of, like, when people were like, we need to know who the killer is, show us the killer, we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same kind of thing, like, just making random demands, like, on the creators.
Oh, okay. But when Sam says he's a big fan, I'm pretty sure I have this right. I believe him because I'm pretty sure he's like the moderator for the Twin Peaks Reddit. He's one of the moderators, I believe, unless I'm thinking of a different Wit or Sam.
Isn't that Ian Witt? I'm not sure. The last name rings a bell, but
that's what his email was sent from Ian Witt. But he signed it as Sam Witt, so I'm not sure if that's like both his names. I'm not sure.
Maybe
he's evil doppelganger.
Yeah, he's a doppelganger. Or maybe he's just trying to shield himself from, things coming at him for expressing a negative opinion, and I just blew up his spot. So
you'll have to ask him.
I'm gonna have to ask him before I set up this podcast.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Mel, do you want to do this one?
I will
Actually,
read.
maybe we just done a full rotation. So do you want to do one of the audio ones, Brad?
Sure, can do that.
Hi everyone, it's Chris here again. I've given it a bit of thought, and here is my review of Part 8.
This is genius. I get it.
That's it?
Is that it?
Yep.
Thanks.
Amazing.
That is amazing. I'm sure he composed that himself too.
Probably.
Okay.
Do you want me to read this one now?
Yes, please.
After that little interlude.
I gotta take a breather from that one. Okay.
Okay.
This is from Martin.
Hi guys. There was a moment shortly after the electric crackle of the Lynch Frost logo when I realized my mouth had been hanging open for the past 40 minutes. I hope nothing too nasty crawled in. No. Soon after, I smirked to myself and wondered, how will the Twin Peaks podcast deal with this? I was one of those people who felt a little put out that there was so much you couldn't enjoy in the slower, odder elements of Season 3. Though you've mainly expressed your criticisms in an interesting and balanced way.
Thank you.
Thank you. From me, Twin Peaks' unique advantage over all other television is its ability to deliver an increasing payload of mental bombs.
Oh, that's what Chris just did. He hit us with a mental bomb.
Mm-hmm. From the original dream sequence of Episode 3 to the extended lodge stay at the end of Season 2, from Bowie's description of their meeting above a convenience store to Cooper's adventures in some sort of electric space kettle, I've always thought that it was a wonderful thing to have my preconceptions of mass media screwed around with. Which is why I was so exhilarated by Bob's origin story, partly for the artistry, design, imagination, and disruption of expectations. Partly for hearing how it affects people. Did you hate it? Tell me you hated it. Tell me in detail. Thanks.
I hope we did.
Indeed.
Okay. Caitlin, do you mind reading this one from Harold?
Piet. I had convinced myself that in this week's episode, at least some of the main plot developments would come to a turning point. That someone in the FBI would flag the news story about Dougie the Cobra, or get involved in the Ruth Davenport murder investigation, or more importantly, that we would finally get to see Audrey and it would be completely devastating. Instead, we got an hour-long experimental film that at times connects itself to the Black Lodge mythology. As someone who has seen quite a few experimental films and is patient with the ongoing story, I don't mind this episode so much. I can't say that I loved it or hated it. I applaud Lynch for his audacity in taking Showtime's money and getting away with it. I appreciate that he made the most unique hour of television in history. I thought the sound design was exceptional. By the way, for anyone interested in this type of filmmaking, you should look up the work of Stan Brakhage. I posted a link to one of his most famous films on the Facebook page. I didn't care for what the episode seemed to be saying about Twin Peaks mythology, not that I am a stickler about that, but it always seemed that the evil of the woods predated 1945, and I don't like the implication that Laura was somehow created by the giant as some sort of response to evil being unleashed in this world. Also, why won't anyone just give this charcoal guy a light? But whatever. But whatever, I am in this for the long haul. I expect that we will be back to our narrative in a couple of weeks, and even if we aren't, I'm sure it will be something memorable.
Yes, I'm sure it will be too.
Yep.
Thanks, Harold. All right, Brad, do you mind reading this one from Daniel?
Sure. Whew, boy, with that up. I feel like we got a case of Lynch taking Showtime's financing carte blanche to make a sequence using sound, imagery, and digital techniques he just wanted to experiment with. Agreed. Given your coverage so far, I'm sure it mostly fell flat for you. I was entertained enough watching it purely from the fascination of seeing a moving piece of abstract surrealism bizarrely crossed with 1950s B horror and Eraserhead. Despite that, I didn't think it was too hard to separate the narrative being implied from its showy presentation. I'll bet Frost said something like, "Alright, David, so the story is that the first nuclear test created a rift which gave another reality access to our town. The first nuclear test created a rift which gave another reality access to our own. An extra-dimensional monster gave birth to Bob and cohorts, and after seeing this, the non-giant sends Laura Palmer's soul into our world to give humanity a chance. And then Lynch, head buzzing with imagery, said something like, "Mark, hold my coffee." Other amusing observations. Bad Dale has a straight-up magic phone.
Yeah, he does.
I really wanted Ray to give his best Willem Dafoe impression from Wild at Heart.
Oh, God.
Oh, I don't even remember this.
Remember when somebody tried to shoot Willem Dafoe and he said, "They're dummies, dummy."
Oh, I need to watch that again. Man, though, Ray really undersells the thing with Cooper being resuscitated by a throng of demonic hobos. Oh, gee, well, he seems to have gotten a little help. I'll get him next time, though, for sure. Exactly. I wish It was such a weird response. If Ray doesn't throw his phone out after this and go into hiding, he's an idiot. Well, why would he throw his phone out? It's not like he had a tracker anymore. Getting the impression that Bad Dale maybe can't be killed by anything except Good Dale now, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
Could be. Alright, we've got like 3 more. Do you mind reading one more, Pete?
Sure, no problem. I hope it's a good one.
Yeah, me too.
I hope so too.
This is from Ben.
Okay, let me scroll up a little. Okay. Hi guys, Ben here. Well, this is going to have to be short. It's not because I'm writing last minute, and I hope it makes it in time. What a fucking weird episode. I mean, the way it started, I thought we were going to get another episode like the last one, and maybe even at a faster pace. Then I lost my shit altogether when 9 Inch Nails came on and Trent Reznor channeling a little Judas Priest in his look. Well, we all know what happened after that, so I won't go beat for beat or anything. That would be impossible and cruel. My reactions, though, are pretty positive. Most of what we saw looked incredible, and it was unlike anything else on TV for arguably good reason. It's hard to articulate why exactly I did enjoy it. Haunting and beautiful, absurd and overly self-indulgent, but somehow it works for me. I won't try to say I have anything beyond the vaguest theories of what was happening, but I know one thing. If it was 1956 and I was sweeping some diner at midnight for whatever reason, and that poem comes on my radio, I'm shutting it off and burning it right there. It's hard to know if David Lynch is really playing with our expectations or is just following his whims. The Dougie character is frustrating viewers to the point where they want less of him. Then Coop gets shot and everyone is like, "We need to see Dougie." And Lynch is all, "Maybe next episode. First I have to stick an over-budget student film in the middle of the series." I don't like to overly analyze artists' intentions, but I consider this a unique case. Well, I loved it, and I love your show. Hope I made it in on time.
You did.
Thank you. Alright, so we've got 2 more written feedbacks and 1 more audio. Do you mind playing the last audio?
Sure.
Thanks for getting all your feedback in so quick, everyone.
Indeed.
Hey gang, it's Illyrio. Hope you're doing well. Part 8. Starts off kind of normal-ish for Twin Peaks Season 3. And then the hobo dance. And then it looks like Frank Silva's head is like it caught in some kind of placenta. And then all of a sudden we're taken back in time, and when I saw New Mexico, I was really scared it was going to be confirmation of aliens or something. Mm-hmm. But no, it's the atomic bomb. Some motorcycles farting outside. It's the atomic bomb, and apparently that's what sparked the arrival of Bob and Mike. Yeah, so I'm thinking Bob is that weird frog bug thing that crawled into Chiquita's mouth. And Mike is that hobo with the cigarette, because all that killing was done with his left hand, the hand that Mike eventually chops off. One thing I'd like to mention, so much that one can say about how David Lynch is doing anything but Twin Peaks right now. And I admire his cunning to have successfully hoodwinked a network into giving him money, into letting him do this unsupervised, and to be able to literally put whatever he wants on the air. I don't remember anything like this ever happening on television. It's historic. It's mind-boggling. Kudos, David Lynch. You are the world's greatest troll, and I love you. Bye.
Thanks, Illyrio. Yes, I'm happy for David Lynch. I'm sad for me.
Everybody's talking about, isn't it great that David Lynch tricked Showtime? What about poor Showtime?
Poor David Nevins. He might be happy with it. Who knows?
They had money. Yeah. I don't believe that. Like, they could have entirely have misplaced their trust in David Lynch. They had to have known what he was doing while he was producing it.
I mean, it's better than Inland Empire. I'll definitely give it that.
They drew the line there. They're like, at least it's not Inland Empire. We're okay with it.
Exactly.
All right, Brad, do you mind reading this one from Claire?
Oh, hurrah!
It's our first Claire appearance.
Oh my goodness.
What if it turns out that Claire hates us now?
Oh.
She probably does. That's okay. We can take it, Claire. We can take it!
I would love for Claire to send us angry feedback. Alright. What's the start?
It says, hello, Peekaroonies.
Oh. Hello, Peekaroonies. Gross word. Don't like it.
Sounds like
yes. Yes, that long wait is over, and something even more exciting than the return of Twin Peaks has happened. I have finally sent some feedback in for the new series! Exclamation point. Tongue out smiley face. Brad, if you're reading this, I fully expect you to articulate just how many exclamation marks I use. Buckle up, there will be a lot. And then there is quite a lot, including a 1 in the middle there, because she mistyped. So happy to have you guys podcasting again. As I've mentioned many times, you were the first ever podcast I listened to, and still one of my favorites. I am, as you know, a big fan of the original series, but I've actually been avoiding the fandom for a while to avoid spoilers for the new show, and what I see as a lot of the more aggressive and entitled parts that come with any fandom. The reason I've always loved your podcast is that you don't take the show too seriously, and that it is very refreshing. I mean, I love this show. I have a fucking tattoo of it on my back, and it's still just a TV show. And I enjoy laughing along at some of the more wacky aspects with you guys. Smiley face. Anyway, on to this week's episode. How the hell can the Roadhouse afford 9-inch nails?
Right?
I'm guessing they're a bigger deal than I realized.
Yes.
I have no ideas in music, guys. Sorry. That's just a fact. Old cousin McGee Renault must be making bank from exporting underage hotties to One-Eyed Jacks! Exclamation point. I'm sure Brad had a panic attack watching all those grabby-handed suit tramps pawing all over Booper near the beginning. Oh, we're calling him Booper? That's Eve Claire. Gross. I love the scene with the Manhattan Project explosion. Not sure yet if I like how this may link to the creation of Bob, as I think an air of mystery always makes things scarier. Agreed. But it's an event that I've always had a weird, morbid fascination with. The tying in of the birth of the atomic bomb with supernatural events was also something I enjoyed as part of the mythology of the show Carnival, which Matt and Mel and I previously podcasted about. In fact, with Black Lodge Cooper, Booper, nope, sharing those shark eyes with Brother Justin, we could almost imagine a crossover to fanfiction.net with you, Matt.
Never. I won't use my powers for evil.
Seriously. The use of color in the explosion / birth of Bob scene was gorgeous. Exclamation point. The flashes of purple and orange, the golden ball of light birthed by the giant and his new lady friend, who was beautiful! Exclamation point. Was another great example. That scene also made me think of the creation of the goddess of Athena in Greek mythology, who was birthed out of her father Zeus's head! Exclamation point. Ah, those wacky Greeks. It mostly reminded me of screensavers. After last week's really enjoyable episode, this one was a bit of a letdown for me. Not saying I didn't like it, but it just felt like such a sharp turn from last week. I would prefer the more Eraserhead stuff, like this week, to be mixed a bit more evenly into the overall show. At the moment, it's like biting into a cake and getting a mouthful of flour one week and then a mouthful of egg the next. That's a weird fucking cake.
Yeah.
Claire, you have to bake it.
You have to mix it, too.
Seriously. Oh, Claire, there's so much we have to teach you about cooking. I like egg and I like flour, but I prefer them to be mixed together to create a yummy cake. Does that make any sense? I may still have some anesthetic in me. That's my excuse anyway. Claire, it's been like a week or two now. Like, there's no more anesthetic talk. Oh no, I lost my place.
Go to the tonguey face. The tongue face.
Oh, which one?
The last one.
I'm really hoping that when Dougie Duper, nope, not saying that either again, judo chopped Little Bang Bang last week, he also judo chopped the rest of his amnesia / resurrection hangover out of himself. I need Cooper back, damn it! Exclamation point. Also, if the theory about Booper raping Audrey while she was in a coma turns out to be true, I won't know how I'll be able to watch the first 2 seasons again without feeling very uncomfortable at their scenes together. Truth. I predict that the boy and girl at the beginning are Cooper's parents. Oh! Or maybe Briggs and Margaret. Oh, I don't know. I didn't think about either one of those. So in conclusion to my ramblings, I liked and even loved parts of this episode, but the middle was so slow. It's atmospheric, sure, and the music was gorgeous, but I guess I'm just greedy for more stuff in Twin Peaks at this point. I will give it 7.5 giant floating Laura Palmer lemon drops out of 10. Keep up the great works, guys! Exclamation point. I will try and send feedback next week if a gross frog locust doesn't crawl into my mouth tonight while I sleep. Yeah. Sweet dreams, guys!
Exclamation mark.
Sweet dreams.
And there's an exclamation point and another smiley face.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Claire. I'm glad you got some feedback in.
Indeed.
Feel better. Mel, do you mind reading this last one?
Yes, I mind. No, I'll read it. From Matt A. This is the same show as Dick Tremaine in The Pine Weasel. I can't believe it. I don't particularly want to believe it. However, episode 8 did contain a number of captivating moments, and I'm almost tempted to say I enjoyed it.
What the?
Caveats, of course. The sequence of Bad Coop getting shot, molested by hobos, then 9 Inch Nails on stage at the Roadhouse could have easily been 6 minutes, not 16. That's probably that's probably my single biggest criticism of this revival. Scenes are 2 or 3 times as long as they need to be. It's like I'm watching the rough cut the editor had a chance to tighten things up.
Before the editor.
Oh, before the editor had a chance to tighten things up. Eventually, someone, perhaps our very own Matthew Humphrey, will release a fan edit that trims most of the fat, and we'll be left with 4 or 5 hours of fantastic television.
I'll get right on it.
Yeah, you better start now.
I already did one scene.
Yeah. Just like a bajillion more to go.
Yeah.
A lot of what I ended up liking about this episode was stuff that reminded me of other stuff. The bomb test made me think of Carnival's mythology. And were you and Claire talking before you... When the false sun exploded over Trinity, man forever trading away wonder for reason. On Carnival, this marks the end of magic and the beginning of science. With Twin Peaks, we sort of have the reverse. It appears to be the thing that let slip evil into our world. Incidentally, dropping hydrogen bombs onto people is also a good way of releasing Thetans into the atmosphere. Is that how you say it?
Thetans.
Thetan. Okay. Praise be to Xenu.
Nice.
It felt like we were getting sorry, I'll start over. It felt like we were getting meaty mythology stuff in this sequence, which was fun, but we go back to the problem of the fat of Twin Peaks, The Return. We ought to spend 2 or 3 minutes inside the fiery explosion that is the birth of Bob and his friends, not 8 minutes and 37 seconds, he counted. That is the length of Threnody for the victims of Hiroshima. I didn't actually time this sequence, I'm just assuming David Lynch wanted to play the whole fucking thing. Oh, here's a quote from composer Krzysztof Penderecki of Poland. It existed only in my imagination in a somewhat abstract way. I was struck by the emotional charge of the work. I searched for associations, and, in the end, I decided to dedicate it to the Hiroshima victims. Dude, haven't the victims of Hiroshima been through enough? Yeah, that's kind of like, you're kind of like, I don't know, showing them an image of something that, like, was kind of super disturbing, you know? I don't know. The island in the purple ocean with the structure atop reminded me of 2 more franchises. The Lighthouse of BioShock Infinite and The Dark Tower in Stephen King's The Dark Tower. Coming soon to a theater near you. Structures that exist betwixt realities. Despite appearing, at least to me, like a movie palace, the structure's purpose felt like a lighthouse with its inhabitants keeping watch on our planet and intervening when things go kablooey. I know that the characters are credited as question marks in Senorita Dido. Senorita Dido?
That was the larger lady.
Oh, was it? Okay. But in my notes I referred to them as Lurch and Miss Thang. This sequence was like watching an old silent film, and I was captivated by Lurch floating in the air, ejaculating orange hemoglobin out of his noggin. When Miss Thang held the globe with Laura Palmer's visage inside my mind, flashed to the film The Fountain, in which Hugh Jackman traveled through the cosmos with a tree in a giant bubble. As one does, I thought all of this was very lovely. But what are Mike and Nadine up to?
Seriously.
In the final sequence, a frog-insect hybrid hatches in bumfuck nowhere, and while it skitters to and fro, those ashen hobos cause mischief aplenty. This gave me more Mad Carnival vibes. The hobos are like miners from Babylon, and the one named Woodsman in the credit bewitches the town folk, just as Justin Crow did through Brother Justin's Church of the Air. Matt and Mel, this would be a good time to briefly mention you're going to be discussing the pilot of Carnival on Hooplecast next month. Find us at hooplecast.com.
Nice work.
You made Mel read that, so mission accomplished.
Yeah, I had no choice. This entire section of the episode was a black and white horror film, and it was very, very upsetting. My final notes are simply the words, "No, no, 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 no!" over and over again. I guess this girl doesn't subscribe to the old adage of a shut mouth catches no flies. So what did it all mean? Well, you're the ones with the podcast. You fucking tell me. I liked the second half of this episode quite a lot, but I think I would have unequivocally... I can't talk anymore, I'm tired. Unequivocally loved it had it been a departure from the 7 previous episodes. We already had episode 3 and endured a lot of other nonsense these past few weeks, so it felt to me like much of the magic was tainted. Someone at Showtime should have told Lynch, you get 1 artsy-fartsy episode for every 5 or 6 episodes that are nimble and cogent. That would be a ratio I could swallow. Ugh. Now I just made myself think of that girl swallowing the froggy thing. Gross. Fucking gross. And there's a quote at the bottom. I hope some animal never bores a hole in my head and lays its eggs in my brain, because later I might think I'm having a good idea, but really it's just eggs hatching.
Oh god. That's terrifying. That was a feedback marathon. Thanks everyone.
Indeed.
Pete, do you have anything to add to any of those thoughts that are right there? What's it like seeing the other side?
I just hope future parts will, please you more than what you've seen so far. I really hope, because you guys are obviously big fans of the original series, and I hope you get to enjoy it a little more.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
Lots of people are.
Yeah, and I'm glad they like it for what it is.
It's okay to enjoy a TV show.
Yeah, it's okay.
Or not enjoy it.
Yeah, or not enjoy it. Yeah, I still look forward to, like, Molly's like, oh, Matt, another episode of Twin Peaks tonight. I'm always excited about it, so,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, thanks again for coming on. Pete, do you want to plug anything?
No, I mean, yeah, follow Welcome to Twin Peaks on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is That's Our Waldo. The rest is just Welcome to Twin Peaks. And yeah, I would love to hear theories. I've opened a forum last month, which is at welcometotwinpeaks.com/discuss. So post your theories, and I'd be happy to read them.
Sweet.
Cool.
I didn't know you had a forum. I will check it out.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun.
Well, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Brad, what do you got to plug?
Guys, you can catch me with Claire and Tammy on Calavici Fashion Cast, talking about every episode of Quantum Leap and the fashions therein. Also, you can hear me on the Ramjack podcast, talking about all sorts of shenanigans. We recently did our eighth year anniversary podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, we dipped back in. Thank you.
Yeah.
We dipped back into an episode of Charles in Charge that was pretty fucking bonkers. So check it out.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, there's a week break because of Independence Day, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see everyone in 2 weeks' time.
Well, what are we gonna do with all that free time?
We're gonna watch the screensaver again.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on twitter.com/TwinPeaksCast. Search for the Twin Peaks Podcast group on Facebook, and visit us on twinpeakspodcast.blogspot.com. Email your feedback to twinpeakspodcast@gmail.com.